So, by this time, you have some idea of a topic that you might want to use as a basis for your e learning. And remember, e learning is just a digital version of you being face to face with one or more people trying to teach them something. So, we're going to use certain techniques and tools and objects in the process to make it e learning, and that's called an authoring tool. So, think about it. If you had something to teach how to change a car tire, and you laid that out in PowerPoint slide by slide. Each slide has words. Maybe you start with an introduction slide. Next slide, maybe table of contents. Third slide, maybe some pictures, some words, maybe a video. You might even provide questions as a form of quizzing. Now, that in itself is just a layout of what e learning could look like. And I'll be honest with you, if you saved that PowerPoint slideshow and then distributed it to 1,000 people who need to know how to change a tire in a car, that becomes digital learning, becomes e learning in a way. And I'd almost say that's good enough for me for this course, but I'm not going to. You can start laying it out in PowerPoint, that's your storyboard, that's okay. But what I'm going to do is introduce you to some tools. Now, there's many, many, many tools out there, authoring tools, that allow you to stitch, to put all your wonderful content on a bunch of screens so the user can interact with it. And the way they interact, the way they receive the content you want them to receive, and by them I mean the learner, and how they retain it and recall it, the better you are at it, the better they will retain and recall it. That whole process is called pedagogy or andragogy, and that's the magic. That's what pays the money. That's what a great director in Hollywood does. It conveys a solid message to the audience, and the audience loves it, makes them laugh, cry, get angry, whatever it is. E learning is no different. If you do it right, your learners are in fact going to be engaged, they're going to be motivated. Maybe it's interactive. Maybe they get to self assess. Maybe there's a badge or certificate or reward at the end. The thing is, how do you put all this together? You wouldn't know necessarily. So I'm going to introduce you to some tools. So there's many. You've heard of Blackboard, you've heard of Moodle, you might have heard of Google Classroom, Schoology. Listen, I'm going to let you pretty much choose your own tool. So if you want to go explore a tool that I didn't talk about, go ahead. I mean, that's what e-learning is all about. In fact, if you want to specialize in e-learning, I highly recommend you dabble in as many tools as possible. But what we're going to do in this class is I'm going to show you two or three and then ask you to choose one of those because I can fully support it. Now, if you want to go choose your own, please, before you start building, speak with me first via email because I want to vet it myself and see if it's going to drive you nuts and crazy, and I want to protect you from that and whether the end result will be meaningful or not. Now, quite often you might develop e learning in one thing, let's say Blackboard, and then easily copy and paste that content into two or three other tools. And then we also think, is this going to be deployed on a web browser, on a phone, on a tablet? How are we going to do this? So, this session is going to demonstrate two or three different samples. And you can be a judge if you like them or not, if they're good or not. But I'm just going to give you what it could look like. So the first tool I'm going to demonstrate is the one I believe most of you will use. And it's actually Blackboard. And you're going to use it because you're already in Blackboard. My Seneca, in fact, is Blackboard. Now, Blackboard is a company. And they have a site called CourseSites.com, COURSE sites.com. And you can create a free account. Now remember, I checked all these out, so they're not going to harass you with all sorts of advertising or anything. They're pretty good, and they're free. So when you go to CourseSites.com, have a look. This is what you see. This is like a finished course. This is not how you build it, okay? So somebody did something called enhancing your best self naturally. I guess it's about makeup or some sort of aesthetics. Now, they started off with a page with some nice words. I changed the font a little bit and a nice compelling graphic. They could have put a video, but it's okay. And on the left side, you've got a menu that is reasonably easy to understand. It's not cluttered. The audience isn't like high-end academic people. They want to have some knowledge on how to look good. So on the left side, you've got, see, that's a welcome screen. There's a nice little page on how to get started. In fact, there's a video of the author. Now, that video itself doesn't make much sense, but we would certainly expand it. Then I like that they've broken it down into modules. So module 1, 2, 3, 4, and provide a nice summary. And they might even provide a summary inside each module. And I like this quiz. And they're allowing some sort of a live collaboration. So if a learner does the course independently, but you want to have them in on a webinar or an audio call or something. So I'm going to go to module 1. Now take a look at this, right? They've laid it out this way, right? 3 topics. So within module 1, prep and priming the skin, they have several topics: cleansing the face, pore minimizer. Well, I'm going to learn a few things here: anti-shine, and so on. And they shot videos. So nice words, a transcript of the video, that's essential for AOTA. But let's watch the first video.
We will begin by cleansing the face.
Okay, so obviously shot on a phone, which is fine. Many of us have phones. That's okay. You don't need fancy equipment. They could have easily found videos on YouTube, and I could show you how to get those. So as a student, you're allowed to use them. Now, when you're shooting video, the only thing I would critique here is you don't do it vertically. You do it horizontally. But they did it. It's pretty good. I'm learning stuff. This is awesome. And I go through these lessons, and then I would go to module 2. Within module 2, they have all of these different lessons, but they're telling me all the different topics within each module. Then there's a summary, which is good, a little quiz. And let's just take a look at the quiz, right? You've seen this before. This is Blackboard. And I've completed some quiz. So there's really nothing there, but we could have something. And they've set up a live collaboration session where people can meet virtually, maybe a weekly or a monthly get-together session to show us your new techniques and so on. And I like it. You might add a certificate to the end of it. So you too will be able to build something like this if you choose course sites. And there's a separate video tutorial that's going to show you how to actually do it. I'll be honest, this particular build, including the videos, if you started now and all your content was ready, like you just knew all the words and you wrote them up, let's say in PowerPoint, you can get this whole build done, I think, in about 3 hours. And another 2 hours to kind of clean it up, make it look good, fix it, add. Now let me show you another one. This is, again, this is student work from the past, really good stuff. But this course here is built on a system called Udemy, udemy.com. And typically I get 1 or 2 groups using Udemy. Now Udemy is more of a linear approach. You go in one direction. You see on the right? It's not like Blackboard that I just showed you, where you can navigate back and forth. Here you can too, like you can skip. But it's got more of a vertical look. So take a look. They've created a slide. That's a title slide. And they're allowing me to go forward.
Welcome to How to Manage Difficult Situations in a Training Session. Welcome to How to Manage Difficult
They've embedded an
Situations in a Training
object
Session.
inside their course. And this is created using
Disagreements
Powtoon. And I'm going to show that to you as well. And they allowed me to pause and go forward. So I'm going to skip. And there's another Powtoon. Now you see, it tracks how far you've gone over here. Now I'm going to skip all the way to facing difficult situations, you see? And I want to watch lesson number 10. It's just a slide. I'll go next. There's some exercise stuff. There's a scenario, so they've used some sort of bit strip cartoon. You can make it a little bit bigger. You get the idea. Now at some point you could actually go in and put in a quiz. You got things like about the course, some information, some announcements. And so it's not a bad environment. Udemy's not bad. At the very end, they're saying good luck, wrap up. I like it. If you want to think linearly, Blackboard is a whole different way. So again, there will be a video showing you how to build something in Udemy. It's not like you have to go figure it all out. Now, one last one I want to show you just now is a system called Adobe Captivate. And last year, I had one person use this. Actually, the same person did it on Blackboard and Captivate, and it was quite good. And Captivate is if you want to deploy e-learning not over the internet, like as in you have to log in. Let's say you wanted to create something where you could just package it up, let anybody download it and access it with quizzing and so on. So let me show you what that might look like. So this course is created using this thing called Adobe Captivate. And it's software that I'm going to give you access to. And it's if you want to just have it kind of standalone, people can access it, not any login required, or you could put login.
This just in out of Los Angeles. An earthquake registering
Now take a look. The user's allowing me to skip forward, and it tells you what you've covered. So if I want to go to the next lesson,
residents are being encouraged to shelter in place as major highway.
Well, so much for just another day. The truth of the matter is, in our business, unforeseen
they're obviously
circumstances.
Hi, I'm
trying to
Ian
help
Blanchard.
people
I'm
navigate
trying to
through
get
an
hold of my-
airport for some sort of emergency.
Okay,
So there's
it's up to
voice,
you.
there's some
How should you
interactivity.
set-
You see? And I'm sure there's a quiz somewhere. So I'll just fast forward a little bit. Some of these graphics obviously are not big enough. Let's have a look. Now, don't worry about the content. This is something that they did, but I just want to go forward. There you go. There is a quiz. One of the toughest policies, so on, is B. Right? So I'm going to submit, and it says correct. So I can go back or clear. I can skip it. Takes me to another one. I'm not sure where the results go, but we can certainly have a look at that. So I'm just going to keep going back. So if you want to put a little bit more interactivity and time into it, you can do all sorts of quizzing here. Then have a look at Adobe Captivate. But these are 3 different tools that we can use to take your actual content and put it on some tool that a user can benefit from. And we're going to get more into it. But because it's a compressed course, I need you to start looking. Have a look at this video again. What do you like? I have no problem if you all just go into Blackboard, the familiar environment. And maybe in the future, you could dabble in another one. Now, if you decide, hey, I don't want to specialize in training and development or learning and development, then that's fine. You don't have to learn any more of this. You did what you needed to for the course, and that's okay. And then I'm going to give you more, like those Powtoons and Vokies and different objects that you might want to embed. You might want your learners to go into an immersive environment like gamification. You might want to add an element of virtual reality. We're going to get to all of that. And then you put on your own creative and say, hey, this is cool. I want to add this in and have some fun, lots of fun with it. Now, if there's something way over the top that you've heard of, and you want to incorporate it, but it's not possible for us to do it at Seneca in this class, then you're going to write it up saying, hey, this is what I'd like to do. And I like that. Simply writing it up shows that you're thinking about it. Okay? So watch this video again. You'll get the ideas all over again. And we're going to discover each one of these in the class.